And we are live. Good evening and welcome to all of our viewers watching this live stream about Microsoft Power Apps. During this session, we will guide you through your first use of Microsoft Power Apps so that you can create your own custom business applications. My name is Toine Lambalk, Compliance Manager at Wortel and Power Platform Specialist. During this session, I'm joined by Jeremy Levoye. Jeremy, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. My name is Jeremy Levoye. I've been working already 7 years in the Office 365 business, and one of my specialties are SharePoint and Power Apps.
Wonderful, thanks. Also joining us tonight is Maurice de Jong. Maurice, would you like to introduce yourself and let our viewers know how they can ask their questions during this live stream?
Yes, thank you, Toine. I'm Maurice de Jong and one of the developers of the Vidara Deep site. And during this show, I will handle all the questions of our viewers to our experts of today. They can send in their questions using hashtag AskWortel on Twitter, or if they prefer, they can use the chat box here on YouTube, and we will get them over to our experts. At the end of the show, we will pick one of the questions or our viewers as the winner of an amazing prize, which today is a 50 euros Amazon gift card.
Wow, that's a great prize. Thanks, Maurice, for your introduction. Let's get started. So first things first, we are going to talk about what kind of solution Microsoft Power Apps actually is. And to explain that, I first have to explain which platform Microsoft Power Apps is part of, and that's the Microsoft Power Platform, which is a platform that can be used to create low-code custom business applications. And this basically means that you can create solutions specifically based on your company's needs. The Microsoft Power Platform consists of 4 different components, which are Power Apps, of course, the main topic of today's session, Power Automate, a solution for workflow automation, Power BI, a solution for data analysis, and Power Virtual Agents, which is a solution for creating chatbots. Today, we are going to focus on Power Apps, which can be used to create low-code business applications for mobile phone, tablet, and PC. And you can create these applications by using a low-code approach, and I will clarify what this term low-code approach actually means. Low-code is a visual approach to software development that can be compared with Lego, the children's toys. By using different building blocks and formulas, you can visually drag and drop your own application. And by using this approach, you can basically create any kind of application that you want. And on the screen, you can see different kind of applications. And although it may not seem like it, these applications can all be made by using Power Apps. So you can create anything you like and anything that meets the needs of your business. Luckily, Microsoft is a generous company. And this means that many features of Power Apps are already included in the Microsoft 365 subscriptions. So we expect that a lot of our viewers of today's session can actually start creating their own Power Apps right after this session. For now, Maurice, are there already any questions about what I just told our viewers?
Yes, one question came in, and it's about on which devices you can use Power Apps.
Power Apps can be used on any device you create them for. So you can use your Power App on your mobile phone, or on your tablet, and on your PC. So it doesn't mean which device you're using. There's always a Power App solution available for it, which you can create.
Okay, good, nice. There's another question. Can you download the apps that you've created from the App Store or Google Play Store?
No, you can't. Let me clarify that. Power Apps is a solution with which you can create business applications for your own users. So you can download the applications straight from the store. What you need to do instead is you need to download the Power Apps app from the App Store, and within PowerApps, after you've logged in with your business credentials, you can see all of the different apps that are shared with you and that you can use. This is more or less the same for using them on a device, but instead you can just use your browser and log into your company's Microsoft 365 subscription and find your PowerApps over there.
Okay, great. Well, that's it for now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, get those questions coming.
Well, yeah, indeed. If there are any more questions, just let us know. We'll be happy to answer. Next up, I'm going to head over to Jeremy, and Jeremy will tell us how this Ask Portal session is set up.
Yeah, so what we are going to try to do is to recreate an app already built in around 30 minutes. What we're going to do is, I already made this app, so we can see what we are going to try to recreate is an order app. The idea in this demonstration is that you create an app for your employees and that they can order a starting package to get to work at home or at the office. So in this idea, we see the company I work for has some supplies I can choose from that I need and are available to me. So I'm starting to order a mouse. I need a docking station. I already have a computer. I'm working currently on it. And I need a second screen. It's nice to have a second one. And I'm fine. No, I changed my mind. I don't need the screen. I want the headphones. So I'm going to the checkout. And here I can see what I ordered, what the costs are, the description, and I can set some comments if I want to. Now I will write a test so we can see what I did. On the background, what it does is it connects to this database I already made in SharePoint, and here we can see the order that I just made.
Wonderful.
That's what we are going to recreate in around 30 minutes.
Great. So we are going to explain our viewers how they can use PowerApps by live recreating the app you've just shown us.
Yes.
Well, that's wonderful. If there are any questions, just let us know. And of course, Jeremy, the first thing to do is we have to start with a blank new Power App. Can you show our users how they can start with PowerApps?
Yeah, so like you just mentioned earlier, it's fairly easy. If you look at the licensing, you already very quick have the needed license to get started with it. If you have that license, you can head over to make.powerapps.com. That's one of the URLs you can use, and this page will open after you signed in. As you can see, you can start from a blank canvas app. There are also model-driven apps and portal apps. We won't focus on those in this session. We will focus on the canvas apps. Let me get started to make one. We name it. We're going to try to recreate it. So I will name it Order App. Very original. And we're getting started with a tablet app.
So Jeremy, what's PowerApps currently doing in the background?
So it's loading right now, setting up the workbench. And as you can see, it's already loaded in a few seconds. And now I have my workspace to getting started to build or recreate the app.
Wonderful. So we've now created a blank canvas app. We have picked a layout. Maurice, are there any questions about what Jeremy just demonstrated to us?
Well, there is a question about different devices. So if you create it's a question from John, by the way. He asks if you do you need to make any changes for different devices, or does it work out of the box for all the devices?
I'm going to hand that question over to Jeremy. Jeremy, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, so there are settings in the background. We will, maybe if we have time, have a look at them. But there are settings in the background that you can set them to change and scale automatically to the screen of the device. You can lock the orientation to landscape or portrait and things like that. So out of the box, it will work on any device, but you can, if you are more experienced, even make them automatically scalable to the right device.
Great. So you can create multiple different applications, but you don't need to. You can actually make a responsive one, which will work depending on the screen size.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I hope that answers John's question. Are there any more?
I believe. Yes, there is a question from Marpas. What is a Canvas app?
Well, a Canvas app is basically one of the three types of apps, and it's most often referred to as a normal app. A normal app that you're used to on your mobile phone. A model-driven app is actually an integration on Dynamics 365. So that's not necessarily what I would call an app, but Microsoft calls it an app. Canvas apps are actually what we often refer to as regular apps for your iPhone or your tablet. So choose the Canvas app if you want to create your own application for using it on those two devices.
Okay, cool. And then there's another question from Jamie Reimers. Do you have to choose a layout for the tablet or a phone? And can you also use the app on your computer?
Yeah, you do need to choose a layout. And Jeremy told us that you can make a responsive application. So the layout you choose is basically just a starting point. And if you expect your app that your app is going to be used on tablets most often, then we would suggest you pick the tablet layout. But if you're more experienced, you can create a responsive one. So it doesn't necessarily mean matter which layout you choose, and you can use both of the layouts on your PC as well.
So if I may interrupt, sure. Tell you something more about it. So I'm demonstrating right now the app on my screen, and as you can see in this particular app, I also try to recreate or create this in 30 minutes. You can see a little gray bar on the top and on the bottom. This is because I'm using the tablet layout. So this app is also not automatically scaled, and that's the behavior you can expect when you don't make it automatically scalable. It will try and see which point of the side of the screen the apps interfere the first, and after that keeps the original aspect ratio, what by default is 16:9.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks for this clarification, Jeremy. So we have created a blank canvas. Now we can start building or recreating the app you've just shown us. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to try and explain the interface I'm working with. Sometimes I like to refer and take the other Office 365 products as an example. So on the top, we have the Office 364 bar, where we can create a new screen, set the theme of the app. For now, I will choose blue. And we can also insert some items. I will insert for now a button. And as you can see, you can fairly easy, like you explained, Toine, insert a button, drag it, resize it. I like to set my parameters on the right side, fixed. So I'm 100% sure that the width is 300 and not a pixel more. And we can also insert some labels, set it on the top, drag it to the side, set the height to 100. How does it look? Fine for now. And the text alignment in the center, I'm going to change the color to blue and the text to white. Change the font size to 20. I'm fine with that. And so as you can see, we already set some properties. I already made a button, put it on the right bottom corner. And for the users that paid attention, on the left side, the elements I added appeared also on the left side. On the left side, we see a tree view of all the elements we have already on this app. If I'm adding a new screen, a blank screen, you can see it's grouped. The elements that are available in that screen are grouped beneath the screen they are on. So when I'm creating here a new label, also drag it to the side, give the proper name, give it a nice color, not blue, you can see the text in that. So right now we have two screens, weather button and text on the top. On the left side, we also see some little buttons. They are also very important. I will head now to this button, the data button. On this side and on this section, we can add the data source we want to connect to. As you could see in the app I already created, we can see here, I'm now heading to the app we already built. We have a list of all the products I could order. This information comes from the SharePoint list I connected to in my already working app. This is the list. What we are going to do in this app is we're going to connect to the same list, so we don't have to bore you and recreate this list also in this stream. Maybe we can do that in another stream, but for now we are already going to connect to this list. As you can see, there are many other data sources and connections we can use and integrate with. So now it's looking up the data and the sites that are available to me. I'm going to connect to demo order list and select the two lists I need. I need this list for all the products we have and this list to write back the order the user makes. Now we have the two data sources already available in our app.
Great. So let me interrupt you right there, Jeremy. With PowerApps, you don't create another data source. You can actually integrate the solution with your current information systems. So you can get information from SharePoint, for example, but also from an on-premise database or any other system that you're using, right?
Yeah, or information about your Office 365 users or your Outlook calendar.
Right. What I told in the beginning of our presentation is that Microsoft uses a low-code visual approach. Well, this is exactly what Jeremy has just shown us. You can simply drag and drop different building blocks to your canvas. Jeremy, can you also show us how those formulas work, which I talked about?
Yeah. So what we're going to do right now is we made this beautiful button. I'm going to call it next screen and also tell it to navigate to the next screen, screen 2. I like to rename my parts or my building blocks to _1. So that's how I code. And what I forgot to mention, but it's very important, when you go to the properties of the button and every other elements, there's also an advanced section. Also here, and here we have more actions we can do and set for this button in particular. So here we have the unselect button. What we can do is we can tell it to navigate to the next screen when I press on it. So the code for that is navigate, and it automatically sees and recognizes the command and sees that I have two screens in my app, screen 1 and screen 2. I want to navigate to screen 2 because I'm already on screen 1. Nothing will happen if I set it to screen 1. So I'm telling it right now, navigate to screen 2. Now, when I play the app and press on the button, as you can see, it It's now on screen too.
Great. Wonderful. So this is just our basic introduction about the interface of Microsoft Power Apps. And before we deep dive into recreating the actual app you've just shown us, are there any questions for now, Maurice?
Oh, yes. There's a question about updating an app. So it's a question from John, and he asks, does the app on a smartphone support updates, or do they need to be reinstalled?
No, this is a great question, and the solution that Microsoft Power Apps offers is even greater. Because you don't download the app itself from the App Store, you don't need to update that app specifically. If you make changes in Microsoft Power Apps, you can save the app, which is Jeremy going to show you in a couple of seconds. And then you just have to republish your new version, and then on the phone or the tablet of the user, this new version will already automatically be used. So you don't need to update anything manually, also not on the side of the user. So it's very convenient for a user. They don't need to do anything. If you share an app with them, they are visible on their phone instantly.
Okay, cool, thanks. Okay, there's another question from Marpas. Is it possible to use multiple data sources in one app?
Jeremy, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, so it is possible. It's even possible to use different SharePoint sites. For now, in this example, I used one site, but it's also possible to connect other SharePoint site collections. Office 365 users, OneDrive, you can even import an Excel. You can use SQL, Dataverse, also known as Common Data Services. Yeah, there's a whole list of other applications you can connect to, and if you're very far into the building with Power Apps, you can also create your own API and connect with your own application.
Okay,
great. And you can also combine, for example, SharePoint and a local database. So they don't necessarily have to be the same data source. You can combine anything you like.
Yeah, you can make it as wild as you wish.
Cool.
Nice.
And there's another
Maurice,
question from Marpas. No, there's another one. It's about how many people can work can multiple people work together on one app at the same time?
No, unfortunately, the last time I checked, no. Well, you can work in the same app, but not at the same time. So the app will get locked when someone opens it in edit mode, and then somebody else is not able to edit it at the same time.
Yeah, but you can use it together.
You can use it together. Yeah, indeed.
Cool. Well, that's it for now.
Wonderful. Well then, Jeremy, could you show our users how they can recreate the app we've just made?
Yeah, so I remember the question from John, and that's also the trigger for me to save my app right now. So what we are going to do is we're going to File and going to Save right here. I've named my app Order App, as we could see at the start of this creation. I'm pressing Save right now, and for now this version is already live. When I make a change in my app, the users won't see any changes I made. So also, I'm going to build further the app. And for example, inserting a gallery, this change the users won't see. When I'm pressing save again, I can go to bed and work further on the next day on this app. When I press publish, then the users will receive this version and start automatically use this version of the app. So for now, it's not finished, it's broken. I won't publish it to my users. Further recreating the app. So what I'm going to do is I inserted this gallery. What I want to do is I want to show all the products I have in the SharePoint list I earlier connected to this app. So I'm going to data sources, and here we can see the list products. I'm going to connect to this one and then resize it a little bit like this. And we want to add the items to a local storage variable. How do you want to call it? In PowerApps, it's called a collection anyway. What we've selected. And what we need to do for that is add a button, like in the app. I will quick show you the app again, what it needs to do. So we select the product we want, we press add, and it's going on the right side and show us what we selected. So like our shopping cart. We're going to try and recreate this. So I've made this button, give it a nice name. And we're going to the onSelect action. What we're going to do is we're going to create a collect action. Collects the data and put it in a variable, a table. We need to give it a name. I like to start my collections with all, so I can find a list of all my collections when I search on it. Variables with var, and context items with com. So call underscore shopping cart. What am I going to put in this collection every time I press on this button? I'm going to add items from gallery. As we can see on the left side, there are gallery 1 dot selected. I'm closing it. So every time I press this button, I will play this app. Now you cannot see what I've selected, but trust me, I've selected the Surface Pro 7. I want it. Pressing add. And we're going to File, Collection. We can see here I've added the Surface Pro 7. When I'm pressing on the Bluetooth mouse, I'm pressing add, going to the collection, you see we have another item. And it's the Bluetooth ergonomic mouse.
So Jeremy, what you're basically doing is we have a list of devices and products in our SharePoint data source. And when you click the button, you are adding that item to our local collection, which is our shopping cart.
Yes.
Wonderful. Great. And you were using a gallery to show the items. In my opinion, galleries are the most important building block in Microsoft Power Apps. Do you share that opinion?
It's a powerful one. You can do very much with it, but to put it on top of everything, no. It's a combined effort with other elements. So it's a powerful one, but there's not one building block that is more powerful than the other one, in my opinion.
I agree on that one, yeah.
So I will continue with the app and add another gallery, one of your favorites one. Resize it a little bit so it can fit on my screen. And now, as you can see, here I'm getting a list of all the data we have available in our app. Now, the collection we just created is also available here. So when I select it, it will directly show us all the items I showed you earlier in the settings of this app that are in this collection. Right now we're seeing Microsoft as the brand property of our list, but I want to change this to the title. And I'm seeing here, like in the settings, that I have a Surface Pro in my basket and a Bluetooth mouse. Now, when I'm playing it, I can add the Surface dock, add the HP screen, and the Surface headphones. Scrolling to the top. So I'm scrolling to the top because when I want to change something to display on all the items, I need to change it in the first one. So what I want to do is I want to give a description here, or the price maybe. So when I changed on the first one, all the other ones will also get this change. It's a copy of what I program here. So here I'm scrolling to the list of if I find something nice, price. So here you can see the price of the item. And what we're going to do also is change this to a trash can. Again, here the example. We want also the possibility to remove something from our shopping cart if we make a mistake. What we are going to do for that is change the icon to a trash can and then type a little bit of code. The code for this one is remove. As you can see, it's already tell us what it's searching for. It's searching for the collection or the data source where it's removing something from. It's removing from call shopping cart. What is it removing? This item. And we're done. So when I press here on the trash can, on the Surface dock, on the Surface headphones, and on the Surface Pro, everything gets removed. Are there any questions, Toine, in the meantime?
Well, we should pass this one to Maurice. Are there any questions on the socials, Maurice?
Yes, there's not a question about data sources from John. He put that question in earlier. Can you use the API of, and then he meant the PowerApp API, I guess, because he asks, can you use the API to receive data from another app? And then he mentions for real-time data.
Real-time data, right, Jeremy? I think this question can best be answered by you.
So I'm not 100% sure how you mean this question, John. Maybe if you don't answer it right, you can clarify it. But it's possible to create an API connection with your other applications, and dependingly on how you create this API and implement it in your app, you can, up to certain seconds, view live data from your data source. It's also possible to create push notifications in your PowerApp.
Right. So you can connect with an API of another system to retrieve information, but you have to use, and that's something I add to Jeremy's comment, you have to refresh the data source, and you can do that, for example, every 2-3 seconds, and then it will load in the new data.
So there are different options. You can say unvisible in the unvisible property of your screen. There's a property that's available to you. You can set every time this screen becomes available, do this action and then refresh the data from the API, or maybe a button, create a timer on the background. It's also a possibility, or when a person pushes a button, refresh the data. And we're now talking about getting data, but you can also push data to your data source if your data source is compatible with those type of actions.
Right. Okay. He has another question, and that's about the app you are explaining that you are building. So he asks if the collection that collection shared for all users, or does every user has their own collection?
Well, basically, when a user opens an application and is working with a collection, this collection is used by this specific user. So for example, in the app Jeremy is creating, the shopping basket is for the user that is using the app. But the list of products is retrieved from SharePoint, and that list is available to all the users. So it depends on where the data comes from. If it comes from a central shared storage or data source, then it's visible and accessible by all users, of course, if they have the rights. And for example, in this case, when we are working with the shopping basket, that specific local collection, which is stored in PowerApps, is only accessible by this user until he saves it and, for example, submits the order. Am I right, Jeremy?
Yeah. So, of course, if we program to store it, it will be stored. But if we don't program it, it won't be stored. In this app, the perfect example is the left side is general available to the users that have access to the data source, and on the right side is your local own data.
Great.
All right. Okay. And there's another question from Marpas. Yeah. Can you also get information on the usage of your app from other users?
Yes, you can get reporting about how often an app is used. I don't know if that answers this specific question, or otherwise just let us know in the comments. But you can get reports about which users are most actively using an application. And that's because every usage is logged, of course, and you can use those logs in any kind of analytical program you want. And PowerApps also offers default reports.
So it's interesting, but it's loading not correctly right now because the app is fairly new, so we won't have any data. But to give you an overview of what you are able to see is I'm now looking at the properties of my Wortel order app I earlier made. And here we can see some of the possibilities it could do when the app is run longer available than a few days.
Okay,
great.
Well, both Marpas and John will let you know. Wanted to let you know that they are happy with your answers. So great,
wonderful.
Keep
well,
it
these
up.
questions are great. Keep them coming. The questions, we are happy to answer them. Jeremy, next step of our application is of course the subtotal of our shopping cart. Am I right? So we've selected the multiple products and we want to show a shopping cart and submit our order.
Yeah. So what we're going to do right now is, like you said, we have our shopping cart. I'm going to fill it up, some other things. I'm going to the next screen. There's where the next magic happens. So like earlier, I've said we have a list called orders also connected. I'm going to connect and use a new form and connect that to orders. So it's loading right now, retrieving the data of the columns that are available in this list. And what I can do right now is I can set it to the default mode new. It's then set to create every time a new item in our order list. After that, after the data is on SharePoint, we can create a Power Automate flow or other things to automate the process after that. Maybe to send an email to HR or other people or companies we have a license with or agreement to ship and give us the items. So I'm going to resize the form a little bit, and I'm going to put in here the user. I'm going to start with this. A little fun fact, but it's more advanced, is that you can also use some built-in APIs of PowerApps, like which user is currently running the app. every time you use those APIs, it will do a call to the services of Microsoft. So you want to minimize that to get better performance on your app. 1, 2, 3, or 4 times you won't notice any difference, but it's good to keep it in mind. And the user who's using the app won't change in the meantime. That's not possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the current user to a variable on the onStart of the app. So I've pressed app, onStart property, set. What I'm going to do is give the variable name var underscore current user. But what am I going to put in here is user and close it. So if I now start the app and right here in the data card or variable, so let me have a look. Where am I going to put this? So I first need to unlock it. So I have full control of all the properties here. I unlock this data card and I'm going to set the default value of this data card value item, like here, this one. I'm going to set it to var. Oh, sorry, I'm mistyping something. So data card value 2, default. Is it unlocked? It should be. Yes. var underscore current user dot email, because I want to see the email of this user. As you can see, the current user is logged in, is displayed here right now. I'm going to change some properties of this form also, because when we are have a look at our data source and going to order, this order column is a multiple row text value and not a single line. But by default, it opens as a single line of text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my form, give it a nice name, form order underscore 1, and edit the fields. We can also here add some other properties, but for now we don't need them. But what I want to do is I want to change this order details to edit rich text. And why rich text? Because as you can see here, I made some fancy HTML table content. I'm not sure if we're going to make it in time to display that, but we're going to see.
No, me neither. And just to clarify, Jeremy, the fact that you've used a HTML table is just a personal choice that we did in this example. In your case, being a viewer of this live stream, you may want to send an email with the text, or you may want to store every order separately and every product separately. So the HTML table Jeremy is going to use is just an example on how we did it in this case. But like I said in the beginning, these PowerApps meet the expectations of your business. So I don't expect any one of you to actually use this HTML table as well.
Yeah. So maybe it's more interesting to getting started to even submit my form to SharePoint, and if we have time, we have a look at the table I'm going to make.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button and call it save. And what it's going to do, it's going to save the form. So again, going to advanced of the properties of this button. What I'm doing is I'm pressing here select, so the formula opens here. I like to have some more workspace. And write the formula, submit. form. Again, automatically I see one form 1, and close. So now, when I'm pressing here save, it will prompt automatically, there's some information required because it's required. So I need to fill in some information. Now, if I'm pressing save, and for the user who's paying attention, I didn't play the app, but I'm able to press save because I'm pressing Alt on my keyboard. There's also a quick way to navigate and use some elements in your app and not pressing all the time play. For now, we're going to have a look, and as we can see in SharePoint, we can see that I've saved the entry Jeremy. But the user didn't get any confirmation of that. Toine, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to let you know that we are closing in on our end time, and we have shown our users how to retrieve data from SharePoint and how to send data back to SharePoint. I suggest we take a look at how to show a confirmation and then head back to the questions, which I guess Maurice has a couple of them.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I wanted to do, to give the user a confirmation of the success of their submission. We are on the properties of the form, and we have here the on success. So what it needs to do on success is fairly easy. A method of creating a confirmation message. It's notify the text for the success. There's something I want. If I want to add cookie, I can do that. And what type of notification is it? Is it an error, information, or success? In this case, it's success. And now, if I'm submitting an order, details on success, reset form 1. It's not success. So
yeah, and I guess you have to start a new form. Am I right?
Sorry.
And I guess you have to start a new form when you want to start with a blank new form, right?
Yeah, so what I'm doing right now, it's on view mode. It's by default is going back to that, but it's not set to show anything. So right now I'm helping myself recreating a button that's only resetting the form. No, not forest green. Reset form. This form, and then I'm off to go. So if I press this one, it will reset the form, and I'm ready to go. Delete this button. This won't happen anymore. So developing is try and error, and now I'm able to create Jeremy 2, save. I get a success message, and the form is still there. As confirmation, here we have Jeremy 2.
Wonderful. Well, this is great. Of course, we can spend hours more time on showing you everything you can do with PowerApps, but this was just a beginning, an introduction on how to create a new blank canvas app, what the interface looks like, and how to retrieve and store data in a SharePoint data source. For now, are there any questions, Maurice, from our audience?
Yeah, we got a couple more. First is the question from Walter White, and he wanted to let you know he thinks this is a great session. And his question is, how can we guard the sensitivity of the information being pulled from the sources and stored somewhere else after being processed in the app?
Well, this is a great question, Walter White. PowerApps respects the permissions of the data source. So if a user doesn't have access to a SharePoint data source, he doesn't have access in the Power App as well. The same thing goes up for storing data. So if you want to make sure that users don't see information they are not allowed to see, make sure you set that right in the backend, so in the data source itself. I don't know if that answers the question. Let us know if it doesn't. But if I understand your question correctly, then this is the answer.
Okay, great. There's another question from John. Is the user the same as the Azure AD identity, or is it stored at the data source?
No, it's the current Office 365 user that is logged in and using the application. So that's what Jeremy was retrieving when he used the user brackets function.
Okay, cool. Okay, and then there's another question from Marpas. Can I use the app? Can I use the apps in Microsoft Teams?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. You can actually embed the PowerApps on different other applications of Microsoft. So you can embed it in SharePoint, for example, if you have an intranet and you want to allow people to book a lunch or a working spot at your office, and you can also embed them in Teams. So the answer to the question is yes, you can.
Okay, and then she explains her question a little bit more. Can guests in a team see and use the apps? Because in her organization, they work with a lot of external partners. So how does it work with external or guests in the teams?
Well, there are solutions for that, but I'm going to pass this question over to Jeremy.
Yeah, so as long as you're a guest in the tenant of the app, so for example, I'm using currently my test tenant, and I will invite John or Marpas to this tenant as guests, they are able to use this app. So also in Teams.
But you can't share your app with anonymous users. For that, you have to use a PowerApps portal. That's a different type of app, which Jeremy showed us in the beginning. You can't share your Canvas app with users without them logging into your environment first.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, there's just it's a question from ourselves. It's a question about those Excel formulas. No, not really Excel, but I'm referring to Excel. As I see those formulas, they're a little bit familiar, but is this its own language, or can I use Excel formulas?
Yeah, Jeremy, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, sure. Like you mentioned, it looks familiar, but there are some differences in the code. You can the languages that can come close to this is it's a mixture, in my opinion, of Excel, JSON, and I'm forgetting the name of the other language. But if you have some knowledge of HTML or Excel, it should be very easy to adapt to this language. If you're already familiar with Power Automate, you can also see some references and things that come that are the same.
And to add something to the answer of Jeremy, the formulas in PowerApps also use very natural language. So for example, when you want to navigate to another screen, you use the formula navigate. When you want to get the current user, you use the function user. When you want to remove data, you use the function remove. And Microsoft has lots of resources available explaining what all these formulas are. But the name of the formula is actually what you want it to do.
Yeah, maybe we can put a link in the description of all the comments that are available right now.
Right. Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's it, I think, for the questions. John and Marpas wanted to let you know they really think the combination of Teams and PowerApps is very interesting, and they're happy with it. So
it is. Yeah, definitely. Well, great. We can't actually use our application yet. Jeremy has already shown us how to publish the application, but just to be sure, can you show it to us again?
Yeah.
How to publish the most recent version?
Yeah. Right now we have our unfinished app, unfortunately. I would be happy to have it finished, but it's not possible right now within the time we have. I'm pressing publish, and I'm publishing this version. We can see all the versions of the app by pressing on that button. And we have a version history, but also on the details we have this link. This is the link users on mobile, but also on PC can use to launch this app. So right now, if I'm pressing the correct buttons on my keyboard, we can go to our app. Order a nice Surface Pro with a mouse, going to the next screen and see the current logged in user. Again, we can see it on the top right here. Set the title, Jeremy 3, save, order success cookie, and in a few moments, SharePoint will automatically update and show us Jeremy 3.
Great. And Jeremy, this application, you've created this one. Is this application visible to all users now, or do you first have to share it with them?
Yeah, great question. When we have published our app, so I'm back at our app again, going to File. We can press Share here, but also on the details screen, we have here our Share button. It will do the same. It will open this pane on the side, and we can set here at what users we want to share the app with. In this case, we want to share it with everyone in Composer. Don't notify them. And here also we have a mention of make sure the users you are inviting have access to the data sources. So in this case, the users need at least read writes at product because they need to retrieve the product list, and orders also need write permissions because they need to write back their order to the list. When we press share, they are now able to find and use the app.
Wonderful. So users can find this application in their PowerApps app on the mobile phone. Well, like I said in the beginning, PowerApps is part of most of the Office 365 subscriptions, so they won't need any additional licensing to actually use the app.
Yeah, so do not get very technical, yes, but there are some exceptions. Maybe if you have looked into PowerApps already or Power Automate, you see some premium actions or connections, but that is when you want to connect to Salesforce or other applications, they want some money for it. So the short answer is yes, and especially you can do very much with those Power Apps for Office 365 licensing.
Wonderful. Well, great. I hope this wraps up our live stream. I'm going to head back over to Maurice because I think maybe we do have a couple of last questions, and I think we have a winner of our Amazon gift card. Am I right?
Yeah. I want to continue right away to the winner of this show. It was a tie. We had a difficult decision with this, but we think John 3620 is the winner of our Amazon gift card. So John, can you please send a message to werken@wortel.nl, like it here, and then we can get in touch with you and make sure you get your gift card.
Wonderful. Congratulations, John. Great. Thank you so much for all these great questions and for joining us tonight. If you would like to have a second session about Power Apps, just let us know. We are very keen to know if people like this one and would prefer a second one where we can get more into detail. If there are any questions after this session, feel free to reach out. Also, this video will be published on YouTube, so you can just comment on this YouTube video and we will answer the questions as well. This brings us to the end of the live stream. We hope this session enables you to start with PowerApps. Well, of course, you might need additional resources, but Microsoft has lots of them. And our biggest advice is just start. Just start simple. Don't make it too complicated for yourself. I want to thank Jeremy for demonstrating PowerApps to us and answering the questions. Also, a big thanks to Jeroen Niesse, who you didn't see tonight, but he made everything possible from a technical side. So thanks for taking care of the production. And of course, Maurice, thanks for helping us with the questions. Leslie, thanks to all of the viewers for watching. Subscribe to our channel. Have a great evening. Until next time.